Well, Terry, are you going to be in a better mood this time?
Man, I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
I have to say, last time we went live, you were a little salty.
Well, there may be some "I told you so" moments tonight. We'll save that for the show, though.
I doubt there'll be some "I told you so" moments because I don't particularly know of any that
Huge
there
one
should.
coming your way. Huge, obvious, blaring one coming your way.
Are you going to talk about the stupid movies?
I'm going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about the Disney 100 exhibit. I'm going to talk about the movies. I'm going to talk about how amazing the Muppets Mayhem looks like it's going to be.
Yeah,
You haven't seen that trailer?
I have. It looks awesome. I've seen a
I
couple of
wasn't sure
trailers.
what to expect, but I don't know. I saw I've just seen a couple people post about it, and I'm like, oh man, daggone
all,
it.
all I want to hear is animal, animal, and I'll be happy. So, all right. Well, you ready? You ready to start this? Or as they say in the TV show The Boys, you ready to light this candle?
Is that The Boys or is that the Apple TV show about space? They say that too. That was the whole first season of that show.
I mean, look, I thought it was The Boys because I thought that was. You're right. You're right. I thought that was Homelander that said that.
No, it's boy, The Boys. That show's a lot.
It is a whole lot.
Yeah, I watched the first season, and if I was Catholic, I'd have had to go to mass after the good Lord.
All right, let's light this candle. All right, starting the intro. You ready?
Well, you obviously know where you're from, Huntsville. You got to know where that's originally from.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, that's a space thing. But I thought that was a Homelander thing where he wanted to have a big fight.
What is the Apple TV show about space?
The right stuff. No,
For All Mankind.
Okay, yeah, that's a great show.
Maybe one of the best shows on television.
Ted Lasso.
True story. I said one of.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's a solid drama. Now I've not seen Yellowstone because
I love it. It's so good. But
I don't have as much time as you have, Dave.
That's another one where you might have to go to mass and say a couple of Hail Marys after after watching it. All right, let's light this candle.
This is Top of the World, the Disney Vacation Club podcast. A proud part of the WDW Today and Laugh-O-Gram Studios family. Join us as we talk parks, points, perks, and all things DVC, and how to get the most out of your membership. Here they are, Dave Adams and Terry Weaver.
Well, welcome home. I'm Terry Weaver.
And I'm Dave Adams.
And we are back on what is today? Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday night on annual passes are back for DVC Members Eve.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. The girls don't have them right now, do they?
They do, actually. They do.
Okay,
so
you're good.
We're good, but
You've managed to weasel your way into them. You're good.
Yeah, the only way, and let me say this. I one of my dear friend Sherry made a comment on my annual passes are back post saying, "Well, why are you so happy? You kept them, or you still have it?" The only reason I still had it is because I shelled out way too much money the past 3 years, praying that they came back because. There were 2 or 3 times where Amanda and I looked at each other and said, we don't need them right now. But then as I was about to give them up, I thought, well, what if they don't come back again? So I shelled out the way too much money for annual passes.
Pre-pandemic, we would go like right now, I'm not in a season where I really needed ours,
Right.
and I probably would have let 3. The rule of thumb was about 60 days, 60 to 90 days. I think the math is somewhere in there. It probably has changed since.
It actually worked out a lot. It was like 10 days for us now.
No, like 60 or 90 days of like the lapse.
Right.
So if
okay.
You're not going back for 3 months, you're probably okay. You were probably okay pre-pandemic to just pick it back up the next time you were there.
Right.
But now that you got to have it for reservations and you're wise if you get them to keep them.
Yes. That was my whole thing. And look, I get it. There were people out there, most people out there in this economic times that can't hang on to that extra cost every year. That is a luxury. I understand that. That is a first world problem. And I am a huge proponent of saying, Sherry's going to yell at me in the comments saying, "Oh, look, Dave's being bougie again." Because look, I am.
No, I'm actually being cheap because a 1-day ticket is over $200 now.
So let's put it. Let me put it to you this way: for the 3-day park hopper that me and my buddy Kerry did this last trip. Of course, I used my annual pass, but he doesn't have an annual pass. So he had to pay for a 3-day park hopper, $550. Really, 3 more days, he now has an annual pass.
Well, the rule of thumb of the worth of the annual pass is normally 2 trips. 2 more than 2 trips a year, and your annual pass is good.
If it's 1 trip of a week, and you might go down for a weekend, there it is.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even say it has to be a week. I mean, for our passes, our sorcerer passes, it's what, $9.69, and then it's less for the renewal.
Right. And then I put the memory maker on mine.
Are we getting that now? There's been some confusion.
I don't think we are. You're
getting the lenses.
Right. And you're getting the on-ride stuff, but you're not getting the, hey, there's a guy with the camera, take my picture.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. We'll talk that now. That's the full talk. Oh, look, Brad's saying the roller coaster of AP sales being available or not is something that is beyond getting old. I know we didn't buy DVC for the perks, but it really should always be available. Totally agree,
and,
Brad.
And that line that you've been sold that you didn't buy DVC for the perks, yes, you did. You were sold the perks. That salesman sat you in a seat and told you every perk that you would get.
Yes. So you were sold that, but then I didn't buy DVC for the perks. I will be 100% honest with you. I bought DVC knowing that I'm staying at a luxury resort, a deluxe resort for moderate prices for 50 years.
Oh, really? If you want to be 1% and bougie, I'll be real honest. Is we did a split stay between Pop and Beach Club, and they had an amazing deal that weekend to buy DVC. They gave us some incentives. They gave us actual like gift cards that were enough to pay for annual passes for the first year. They let us refund our tickets from that first trip and use them towards our annual passes. They gave us like an extra month. They gave us floor mats, and I never wanted to stay in Pop Century again if I didn't have to.
I'll tell you honestly, I've stayed at the All Stars once since we had DVC. I don't even know why we did it, but okay. Sherry's going to hate me.
So much hate mail.
We are. I refuse to stay at the All Star ever again.
Dude, here's the deal. I saw an ad someone posted in one of the groups today.
Yeah.
2002. Now that's not that long ago, right?
No, 21 years ago. That's a long time ago.
Right, but I mean, if you want to take this and compare these hotel prices in other cities, they don't line up.
No, they don't.
A value resort in 2002. What do you think the number was, Dave?
Value resort in 2002. I'm going to say
Like this
That
is a sale, right? So this is the
Yeah,
full page newspaper. What do you think the number was?
I'm going to say 75 a night.
Nope, $55 a night.
Whoo!
Middle moderates were 85.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think the Animal Kingdom Lodge was in 2002?
128.
119.
Good grief. And hold up, we gotta say this, Brad. Dave bought DVC, so he had a balcony to look down on peasants from.
There you go.
I mean, most of the
Canada,
time
we salute you tonight, Brad.
Oh, don't make me sing the South Park song. Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love you, Brad. So now is a good segue into that, to my trip. Let's get the big thing out of the way. I gave Saratoga Springs one more chance. I stayed in a 1-bedroom. Me and my buddy Carrie stayed in a 1-bedroom, thinking, okay, we'll stay in a 1-bedroom right next to a bus stop. It was still a 16-minute walk to Disney Springs. It was not fun. The 1-bedroom was way too small. It's a lot smaller than all the 1-bedrooms I've stayed in recently. I've stayed at Boardwalk's 1-bedroom. I've stayed in BLT's 1-bedroom. We have stayed. Oh, where was the last one we stayed at? Oh, of course, Old Key West is huge. And Saratoga is definitely the smallest of all of them. Carrie said it was, and thank you, Carrie. It wasn't too small for 2 people, to be fair. But comparing it to the 1-bedrooms I've stayed in with my family, it was perfect for Carrie and I, but it would have been way too small for me and my wife and my 2 girls. I do think Saratoga like you have said, Terry, would have been better with a car. But it didn't give me the DVC feel that I'm used to.
I don't like any resort that has more than one building. You should have a car.
I'll go with that. The bus
Any
system
resort that's not like a central hub, and I would even apply this benefit to Kidani Village, because parking in the garage and being able to hit the elevator that's under your
right,
rather than having to schlep all the way to the lobby, which is a mile, literally.
Oh, it is a long walk, especially if you're staying with somebody like Carrie who stops and reads every saying on the wall.
For perspective, the 1-bedroom at Saratoga is the 13th rank
out of 14
of the DVC rooms.
Out of 14
size.
So 13th. So and that's so it's one of the smallest.
Yes.
Which one is the smallest?
Animal Kingdom value room.
Okay. Carrie said only negative he has to say about Saratoga is having to do.
Creek is smaller. Boardwalk villas are smaller.
Okay. Carrie says the only negative he'll say about Saratoga is having to do 50 billion bus stops before leaving the resort to get to the parks.
You're going to experience that in any of the moderates.
But I'm not saying at a moderate. I'm saying at a deluxe.
Yeah, but I mean, the bus stops. I don't recommend the buses if that's going to deter your quality of vacation. It's worth Ubering or doing something else if that's going to ruin your experience. Some people love the ability of it. Great. But if that's going to be like a deciding factor on your happiness, well, you may should see a therapist. But aside from that,
right.
Aside from that, I mean, dude, I haven't. We take a bus on average, one time a trip.
Yeah,
and so it's impossible Now you want to know what's really worse than that? You go stay at Riviera and have a windy day and not be able to use the Skyliner, and then you get stuck in the bus system that they're not designed for.
I was at Riviera for the 50th. I had to wait an hour to get to a bus. It was still better to me than Saratoga. And Carrie's right here. The only other deluxe Carrie stayed at was Kidani, and he only had the bus stops at Kidani and Jumbo. So he's spoiled, just like I've gotten spoiled, staying at the other deluxes. I do take the buses every trip. That's a perk that is a big thing to me. I'll say this. The one thing I do like about buses, and this is one thing that a lot of people that travel with me do not like, is I like to sit there and make friends and talk on the bus with everybody that's on there with us. So I met a lot of cool people talking on the bus stops. Now, sometimes you'll have to stand up. And the other thing that I didn't like about Saratoga is they pack you on the bus like sardines. Even if you are a full bus, they still have to stop. And they still will try to find ways to fit people on said bus.
Yep.
So I have been very close to a lot of people in the last
The
week.
only thing that would make me reconsider the bus system is if they changed and got a standalone bus for those that need disability access.
See, I'm okay with sharing buses with disability access people.
It's not a matter of sharing buses. It's a matter of the timing of it. And like, they're not designed for it. It's not a good, nothing about the bus. Nothing are you going to sell me, Dave, about the buses being a good experience.
I get it, but it's one of those free things that Disney does for you. And it's to me and the way I Disney, it is a perk that I use all the time. Now,
and this is, once again, I'll pull out my 1%er hat. When I step on Disney property, I'm spending time and money, and those are things, my time is very valuable to me.
Now, that is an argument I use for Genie Plus. Oh my gosh, I have to pay $35 per person, because that's what it's been the last 2 or 3 weeks. But what is your time worth? Is your time, is $35 enough? Is that what your time is worth? Yes. Then give me Genie Plus. So it's the same argument you're making here is the same argument or discussion.
I don't mind I don't like the Genie Plus system. It's not a better system than it was before.
No, it's not. It's not. But if I'm paying $35 per person per day, it's still cheaper than what it is at Universal down I-4.
Well,
which is like $89 per person per day for your
but you also
pass.
don't have to schedule anything. You just show up to an attraction that you want to. You don't need an abacus or a phone, or you just get on the ride you want to ride.
You needed an abacus for Fast Pass. I had spreadsheets for Fast Pass, and it's the same thing with Genie Plus.
Okay.
You'll never convince me. We will always be at odds with this.
Well, I don't think either one of them is a fantastic system.
Well, okay.
But if you had to pick one,
Fast Pass. I mean, if I had to put gun to my head, this is what you're going to get for the rest of your life. Give me Fast Pass.
Then you knew that you got your 3 rides, and if you need to pick your 3 must-dos, and then you pick up.
But you don't. But see, you didn't get that because you had Tier A, Tier B, Tier C.
At some of the parks, yes.
Right. The 3 rides I wanted to ride at Hollywood Studios were always Tier A. So it's, yeah. And this, Carrie's got a good point here. Fast Pass made cross park walks a lot less, in my opinion. Genie definitely has you walking way more than Fast Pass did. I agree, but I'm okay with that because I've gotten used to it. It's a system that once you know how to use, it's decent. It's not the best. There is a lot you can still do to it, but I would rather pay $35 a day versus standing in line for 2 hours for a 90-second Seven Dwarfs Mine Train ride. So there's my opinions. We talked about Saratoga. I posted in the group about my thoughts on Rodeo Roundup. The hate that it is getting in social media and Disney adult circles is extremely unwarranted.
I don't know anyone that I know that's been to it that hasn't loved it.
All the groups I'm
Now,
in.
granted, I think why people are hating it, dude. But there are plenty of barbecue and Italian restaurants at the parks already.
There are.
So I think it felt redundant. I think the food looks fantastic.
It is.
The
adult drinks are amazing.
I wish there was characters at it. If the characters were in it, it'd make it a no-brainer.
I do think that it is missing characters. But so you walk in and they, no matter who's with you, they say, all right, here's your steed. And they hand you one of those ponies that you get at the Wilderness Lodge thing. And they say, all right, who wants to ride their steed to their table? Of course, Carrie, being the idiot he is, rode our steed to our table. But I'm just seeing them giving that to Ellie and Harper and them having a grand old time. Every now and then the toys will come in and start talking to you, and the prospector will yell, "Oh, Andy's coming." You have to freeze. So you get that cool Andy's coming perk that we always thought was going to happen in the parks. It might be a little over themed in my book. If somebody who gets very overwhelmed easily, I can see this being a place where they're going to get overwhelmed because you can't get away from the theming at this restaurant. Every meat that we got.
What's goofy, dude, when people say that stuff? Like you say it's over themed. I mean, we're talking about an area of the theme park that literally has the imprints of Andy's shoes into the turf.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as over theming.
I agree. And Carrie makes a great point here. If you go into that place and allow yourself to be in the magic and become a quote unquote toy, you will not have a bad time.
Yep. And I've seen the moment, the sound effects and a little bit of show that they do. I hope they continue to add to that, not take away. That's my hope.
Yep. The food is amazing. The only thing I would not get again is the baked beans, because instead of putting barbecue in there, they put jackfruit. They tried to make that the vegan option.
Oh,
yeah, not good. Not good. The sausage
not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah, juncture.
The sausage was amazing. The brisket was the best brisket I've had on Disney property. You had barbecue chicken and ribs, which were some of the best ribs I've had in Orlando, and I've been to 4 Rivers. The mac and cheese was just normal theme park mac and cheese. Good, not great. The tater tots was,
you don't like, you get the baked beans whether you ask for them or not.
No, that's one of the 4 you can choose.
Oh, okay.
You get, I think there was 8 sides. You choose 4 of them. We chose baked beans to be a little adventurous. They call it Marry Me Potatoes. It's tater tots with queso cheese drizzled on them. Those were amazing. The Mexican street corn was the best side I've ever had at Walt Disney World.
There you go.
It's amazing. I could have eaten that all day. The rum drink that I had, it's basically pog juice with rum in it. And then for a little barbecue twist, they salt the rim with Memphis barbecue rub. While that sounds weird, that rub with the sweetness of the pog juice rum was the best drink I've had in a long time.
Yeah, the vegetables, all the sides look great.
Yeah.
I probably would have gotten the fried pickled over the vegetarian baked beans.
The reason I didn't is because they are pickle spears, not pickled discs. And I am a discman, not a spearman.
I hear you.
So, but those were the two that Carrie and I were going over. What do we do? Which one do we choose? We chose to be a little adventurous with the beans. So there's Roundup. I think if you get a chance, go. Your kids will definitely love it. It adds a much needed new restaurant to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, Hollywood Studios is definitely, and I love Mama Melrose.
You're one of the few.
Huh?
You're one of the few. A lot of people crap on Mama Melrose.
Well, I mean,
I've heard it called the Tony's Town Square of Hollywood Studios.
Tony's Town Square. I've seen 4 bloggers this week rated as the best restaurant in Magic Kingdom.
I have 2, and I have apparently they've changed their menu.
Right. And so, I think you go for what you want to go for, right? Like, I think the drive-in movie theater Sci-Fi is one of the worst restaurants in all of America, but the theming is amazing.
Right.
The food is hot garbage, which I don't understand how Disney does this. How from one restaurant to the next, these are the same people in the same kitchens and the same recipes, the same executive chefs. How hard is it?
Right.
You have the same mac and cheese recipe at both places.
Now, I do appreciate the fact that they do have some variety in their flavors.
I do too. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, Hollywood Studios is becoming a park where people are hanging out in. And, Brown Derby is a little rich for a lot of people.
Yep.
And you don't want to drag your kids into Brown Derby.
Now, I do want a Cobb salad one day, but not when the kids are with me.
There's another place in that park to get that Cobb salad too, but I can't
Where?
tell you.
Yes. The place that I want to be a member of one day.
That's the best part about that location. I mean, dude, as far as Hollywood Studios, I'm definitely more of a primetime cafe man.
50s is the creme de la creme.
Yeah. But I mean, more and new is good.
Yep. Always.
I get the feeling that one of the things we're going to see, the reason why I brought up Mama Melrose, I think we're going to see all of that become Star Wars related.
As long as they don't take away Muppets Courtyard, I'm okay with that.
They're going to take away all of that, dude. I think that's all gone.
I'm not okay with that. Now,
I think we may see the resurgence of the Muppets somewhere else.
Take the Muppets and put it in Star Wars Launch Bay. If you make all of Muppets Courtyard Star Wars, cool. But move Muppets Courtyard over where Launch Bay is now.
Or just do something new for Muppets. The only negative thing about that is that's the last thing Jim Henson worked on before he died.
Agreed.
But I mean, think about what's technically over in that area. You've got Mama Melrose. You've got
Pizza Rizzo.
And
Muppet 3D.
Muppet 3D. And, I mean,
There's
imagine if that was replaced with a Star Speeder ride.
No, pod racing.
I mean, or pod racing, yeah. You replace that with pod racing and a full-service cantina sit-down.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. So, Hollywood Studios, what more can I say? We did Hollywood Studios the first half of the day and went to rest and then went to Magic Kingdom. Rode a couple of rides, and let's
interrupt this. There's a few other things we should talk about because I've got the Disney 100 exhibit to talk about, and we did talk about it in the pre-show. So we'll air our laundry on the show right here.
Are we going to do this?
No, we're gonna go. We're gonna go fun first.
Okay.
Let's you and I talk about. I'm seriously considering planning because of the pass holder discount, a trip to go off planet.
I'm in.
So,
As long as it's not the last week of July, I'm in.
I've got one weekend that I ideally can do it because I'm speaking at a conference in Ohio, and I can meet my buddy Ian and you. Ian is going the first weekend of July to Canada, so he can leave to Canada from Orlando. It would be perfect. So
we're talking
those dates I sent you.
Okay. Okay.
I think it's time. Now we're gonna have to come up with a full. I don't know that I'm gonna like cosplay, but I'm gonna at least themed T-shirt it, and we've got to come up with like a character storyline.
Oh, I am 100% Sith.
Oh,
I'm Anakin, man. I'm a heel.
Yeah,
I am straight a heel.
At least you admit it.
Oh, hands down, man. I can't play a good guy.
Yeah. Except for on this show.
On the show,
most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. On the show, look, I am a nice guy, but when you get me playing a character, come on, I will buy some yellow contact lenses. I will straight up go heel. I'll put my red in my lightsaber, kyber crystal in my lightsaber, and I will go ham.
I know a guy.
Oh, I have a lightsaber.
Well, I know a kyber crystal guy.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. But I have mine.
Yeah, I got you. So, speaking of heels.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Because we got to talk
at the beginning of 2019 when the parks were closed, what the Walt Disney Company does and how they respond to Epic is going to be I also promise that I'm going to offend everyone was going to be mad at me by the time I'm done with this, and I'm okay with it.
It hasn't happened yet, though, Terry. The response hasn't happened.
What's about to happen with Epic and Mario IP and the Nintendo IP is going to be massive.
Hey, Terry.
Now, for the record, I did go see the Mario Brothers movie this weekend.
It was great.
I may or may not have fallen asleep in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
It was great, man.
You know what? I was so blown away by how amazing the visuals are on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie attraction. I'm already one attraction. The visuals on the new trailer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would go see that movie again just to see that trailer. That's the best thing I've seen animated in a long time.
I didn't get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
trailer. My gosh. Dude, we part of the other reason is I was sitting behind this kid probably with some neurodivergent issues.
Yeah.
And he hated it. He hated everything that was amazing.
Okay.
He's like the Spider-Man movie is the dumbest movie ever made. Into the Spider-Verse. And I'm like,
look,
okay,
and
boss.
I hate Spider-Man Ride, but that was a great trailer.
Yeah, and it was the animated features. It won the Oscar.
Yeah.
And it should have. But that to say, we've all talked about Disney yada 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 yada. The IP that Universal has access to for Epic. If Disney doesn't actually make these blue sky things a reality, we're in a world of hurt.
$17 billion. Does that number mean anything to you, Terry?
Well,
$17 billion.
No, because I don't believe it.
And let's, for those that don't know why I'm saying $17 billion.
Tiger has said he's going to spend billion
Billion with a B. With a B.
in the parks. I don't know
Not
which
just
park.
no. He said the Florida parks.
Yeah.
The Florida parks. Meaning we're getting $17 billion. $17 billion is a new park, Terry. That is how much did New Fantasyland cost? How much did Galaxy's Edge cost? Nowhere near $17 billion. Let's look up how much Epic is costing. Nowhere near 17 billion with a B.
They were $1 billion each.
Right. $1 billion each. And he's talking about putting 17 billion into the Florida parks.
Say into development. He said into the parks, which could mean he's going to hire 8 billion in middle managers.
No, he said I am bringing in. I think he said. What was the number? He said it was something like 10,000 jobs to Florida parks. So that's not middle management. That's he's bringing them to work for Disney. How much does Epic cost? Have you looked that up?
I have not.
Okay. Bob Iger has already promised us that we're going to get $17 billion into the Florida parks. Okay, that's fine. Let's say he takes $1 billion to update a couple of things, $1 billion to update at each of the 4 parks. Okay, that's still $13 billion to play with. That's a new park still. So I hear you, Terry. I hear you.
I'm just saying.
Right now, it sounds like Universal is doing everything. But Terry,
here's the deal.
You're a Braves fan. No. You're a Braves fan.
Here's the deal. Here's the problem.
No. Let me make my point. Let me make my point, Terry. You're a Braves fan. 2021. Did the Braves start off well? No. It was how we finished. It's how we won the World Series. Universal's starting off great. But who's going to finish in 2025?
It all comes down to how quickly can Disney respond, and not just respond like we've responded to the parking trams coming back.
I don't agree. I do not agree with you on that. Yes, we want responses immediately, but this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. I want to know what happens when Epic opens. As soon as Epic opens, Disney will have something to beat that, or not to beat it.
Wall up.
Okay, great. I bet you we didn't have this show when Harry Potter World first opened, but I bet you still had that same. Oh, Harry Potter's the biggest IP going right now. Universal's going to destroy Disney, and they did it with Disney Imagineers.
Dave, it's not a matter of destruction. This isn't a matter of destruction. What is going to happen is it's about days. Right?
Okay.
And this matters very little to you because you have 2 girls.
But I also love Mario. I love Harry Potter. I love all these IPs that Universal has.
But you're going to make the decisions for the next 10 years of your life based on your girls more than you will based on yourself.
Oh, agreed. Hands down.
And so, and I think what I was saying more than anything is this. When you think about the fact that Mario beat Frozen at the box office and beat both Frozen movies.
Why? Let me tell you why. Because of us. Nostalgia, 40 to 50-year-old men who grew up.
No.
We went to see the movie.
Let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Yes, and this is what I'm getting at. And this is where you and I often, because I'm going under the surface. What's really interesting about what they've done is what Walt did in 1955. He said Disneyland is a place where mom and dad, boys and girls, and grandparents can come together and enjoy something together. What the Mario IP proved this weekend is that it is a multi-generational. It has multi-generational appeal, and if Universal can continue to do that, and Disney's response is, Encanto and a Moana water walkthrough attraction. In the same breath this week, Dave, he said the Moana is pretty much the end of the expansion at Epcot.
Now,
which is insane because you still don't have the play pavilion finished. You don't have the new festival center done. And you haven't answered anything in the countries.
just wait. Destination D23 is coming.
Dude, I hope what I'm saying is if we're sitting here in November
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't made an announcement yet, and it's not an aggressive announcement, and the minimal level of, the minimal level is a e-ticket at every park.
Terry, I'm going to say something that might piss you off, but I'm going to say it anyway because I mean it with love, and we're friends, and I don't hold punches. No matter what Bob Iger announces at Destination D23, it could be a 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th park. It would not be enough for you.
That is not true, Dave.
I have that feeling.
No, dude, all I'm talking about.
You've moved the gate.
This is not lip service to Terry Weaver. This is no, dude. I have never felt this way about the Disney parks until we dropped the ball. I didn't love New Fantasyland. I've never loved Iger. He really didn't. He hasn't historically done a ton for the parks in the domestic parks.
Excuse me?
Historically, he changed that with Galaxy's Edge. Up until then,
And Andy's Backyard.
up until then,
New Fantasyland.
that was it. His whole time.
New Fantasyland, Andy's Backyard, Galaxy's Edge. Huge.
And those Andy's and those came at the same time.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying this is going to come down to, can Disney get their parks to be full day parks? You and I are going to stay at the same place. But what the difference is, unless, Universal comes out with Universal Vacation Club, which I wouldn't be shocked if they would.
I wouldn't either because they've got some good hotels.
Right. They have great hotel products.
Yes, they do.
If Universal keeps going the way that Universal is going, and Disney continues the way they've responded thus far, people are going to make the shift. Is Disney's going to become the secondary part of their vacation, and people are going to choose two of the parks and go to them.
I strongly disagree with that because Disney is still going to corner the families. I'll tell you why.
They're going to corner the young family market. You are absolutely right. They're going to corner the young 12 and under girl market, the 7 and under boy market. But when you start getting into teenage years, Universal's already went. Universal in my estimation is winning that, and people will come and say, you know what, we'll come do a Galaxy's Edge day.
I can do Universal in half a day.
Dude, I don't fit on half of the. I don't like Universal. This is not me rooting for Universal to win. I don't like Universal. I like 3 or 4 attractions at Universal. I think they're amazing.
All of Harry Potter's amazing. That's it.
I've never seen a Harry Potter movie in my life.
You're weird. I say that with the most love, Terry. You're weird.
You just told me I wouldn't be happy, and that's not true, dude. I want to be happy. I want to see the completion of. I want to see 17 billion in one of those to be a park. I want to see, I'm a little torn if UNUT clothing for Tennessee Week is more attractive than the e-ticket at every park. I'll give up my desire to see you wear that, to have that.
We spent the first 2 years of me and you doing this podcast together. We spent the first 2 years of, I just want normalcy back.
Right.
Well, now normalcy's it's back. It is
Almost.
back. And now you're saying it's not enough.
Now it's time, because, example, your company that you work for is in a space race.
Yes.
There's very much in the Space Coast, there are 2 or 3 companies, and one company is definitely leading the race. But I would argue that you work for Universal right now.
Because we have the major contract to build the government's rockets.
Right. When you take us to the moon for real, the game will change.
Right.
And I'm just saying, this is very much like For All Mankind. I don't want Russia to get to the moon before we do. Right?
So wait, you saying I work for Russia?
No, I think you're gonna. I think you're, in the end,
we're the country that wins. Yeah. I hear you. I do. Hey,
and dude, it's all. It really comes down to. I went to the Disney 100 exhibit, which had some breathtaking things in it.
Right.
Amazing things in it. I was shocked at one thing. The things that were actual artifacts that were in this show were amazing.
Right.
And I've got this amazing book that literally has every piece that's in it. The highlights for me were definitely the Walt to Roy telegram.
The actual telegram.
Well, that's where this gets interesting. That was one of the few things that was in a frame on the wall that was the real deal.
Right.
The Disneyland map was a copy.
It had to be. The Disneyland map is hanging in Disneyland.
Right. All of the animated stills and stuff were all copies. It literally said on the wall that it's in the archives, which is, or the real actual one of these is hanging in the family museum,
right?
Which was very weird. I've never been to an exhibit that was like that, but it represented something that bugged me, that we settled for a copy. The guy, a podcast listener, met us there. They listened to both of our shows, and 2 of the guys that are part of my Thing community went, and it was breathtaking. I mean, it was super cool. The whistle from Steamboat Willie was in there. I kind of freaked out over that.
I would have too.
The wind chimes, that was one of the cooler sections, the Foley section. They had a jug that was the jug that makes the sound of the dwarfs in the mine.
Yeah.
The chimes that make the Tinkerbell sound were there.
Probably
Jack
all behind
Sparrow's
glass.
Compass, Ray's lightsaber, a Porg puppet. Some of the early, the devil from Disney World's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was in there.
Awesome.
A basketball from what's the Disney Channel basketball movie with? Oh, daggone it,
Stamos.
No, the original. What was the Disney Channel?
Oh gosh. Oh, High School Musical.
High School Musical.
Yeah, Zac Efron.
Yeah, Efron. There was some cool animatronic stuff in there. One of the Pixar original computers was in there. That was super cool. One of my favorite things was the like edited copy of the when they were writing the copy to the entrance to Disneyland,
Right.
because originally it was going to say where you leave today and visit the world of fantasy yesterday, tomorrow. Now it says here you enter. So it's cool to see that. It's got like that was one of my favorite things in there.
That's cool.
And that was real. They had a bunch of them, like the 3D printed and the references from like the animation. Cinderella's slipper was in there. One of the original Pinocchios was in there. The opening books from Sleeping Beauty and Snow White were in there, and those were cool.
Yeah.
But if you're near Philadelphia, I highly recommend it. If you're a Disney, even a mile Disney, if you're this far into this episode of Dave and I arguing with each other, you're gonna love it. Don't make a trip to Philadelphia just to see it. It's there till September. It's definitely worth going if you're nearby. I mean, we drove from Lancaster from a wedding the night before, drove that morning, and then drove to Baltimore to fly home. It was worth that level of travel.
Cool.
So if you're within 2 hours of Philadelphia, I would recommend it. If don't plan a trip to go see that. But super cool.
Good to know. We hadn't even got on my thoughts on Tron yet, or that I was 100% right about Happily Ever After.
Well, Happily Ever After definitely is back. They've definitely made some improvements.
They made my favorite, and I'm going to say this. I love Wishes. I know Wishes is the show that everyone says is the best, but nothing tugs at my heartstrings more than Happily Ever After. And
you give me, all you would have to do for Happily Ever After to be perfect is give me some Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping they would have merged the show just a little.
It was, I camped. I have never camped for a fireworks show.
Oh, dude, you got there hecka early.
I got there at 6:00 and I had a perfect spot. And
which, dude, it was 90% of, at least 50% of the reason for your trip.
It was. It was definitely, it was 50%. The other half was Tron. And I have to say, I turned 42 in exactly a week. I was a 42-year-old man bawling my eyes out.
No, I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just the way
Harmonious is gone, but
I am too. In fact, Epcot Forever.
I also don't, if that's what we have to do to imagine that Bob Chapek was never the CEO, it's a small price to pay.
Right. Epcot Forever was not great the night I went, but the barges were still there. I think once the barges are gone, they'll bring the kites back out, the jet skis.
Oh, the kites weren't, jet skis weren't out?
No, because of the barges. So it was truly just a fireworks show.
Oh.
But one thing that Carrie brought to my mind.
That's just a temporary show, too. Like, this is just kind of like we don't know the opening date.
But there will be something.
Yes.
One thing that Carrie brought to my attention that I didn't really think of. I love the show. You love Epcot Forever because we love old Epcot. Carrie didn't grow up, on old Epcot. And so none of that meant anything to him. So it was just a cool fireworks show to him.
I love the narration and I love the kids.
Yeah.
I don't even remember half of that stuff, to be honest.
We got veggie, fruit back.
And I didn't have a whole lot of memory.
Yeah. And then I hate that Carrie got offline because he would back me up here. I'll talk about Tron in a minute. But I took Carrie to see Fantasmic, and he agrees with me, Terry, that he put Fantasmic above Happily Ever After.
Carrie, when you're listening to this show, you deserve to be thrown in the lagoon at the theater for that thinking.
And I'll say this too. I FaceTimed Ellie during the whole thing so Ellie could watch it. I made a realization, Terry, and this is the same realization I made about Enchantment. I didn't watch Phantasmic. Oh. Carrie's back. Carrie's back. He said, "Look here, here's my take. I'm writing. Please hold." But I watched Phantasmic through the lens of watching Ellie's reaction on my FaceTime camera.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
Do yourself a favor on your next Disneyland trip. Camp out. Do the effort. Get on the rails if you can.
yeah.
And be there for Phantasmic at Disneyland.
But sitting there watching my 8-year-old daughter through a camera lens, watching this show that is controversial. I mean, I think it's a great sit down show. You have some issues with it, but seeing it brings to mind what Disney is truly all about. And you said it earlier. It's a place where grandkids and parents and kids can all just be. And just watching this amazement through this 8-year-old girl, it just reminded me what this whole trip or what this whole place is about. Y'all know I Disney because of my girls. And even going down on
except for when it's just your boys.
Well, no, I even going down on just a guy's trip. Carrie can tell you how many times I said, "Man, Ellie would love this. This is something that Harper would love." You know, seeing two girls walking down Main Street hand in hand. I said, "Man, I miss my girls." You know, even being on a guy's trip, it reminded me how much Disney means to my family because I see it through the eyes of my daughters.
So before you get into Tron,
yeah, we're still waiting on Carrie to respond about Phantasmic
I'll go on my little Tron rant.
Okay,
I think Tron is the victim of a bad order. Because had the pandemic not happened, Tron probably would have opened before Guardians.
Maybe
Guardians, the way that it was constructed.
All right. Walter or Oswald?
My wife just got home, so you're going to hear my dogs. I'll mute and you can yammer.
No, it's totally fine. That's backstory. But still, yeah, had Guardians opened after Tron, we would be talking about this differently. But I still say Guardians is the best roller coaster in Orlando.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, it's what they both represent. Had we gotten, I wish they wouldn't do this nonsense with like, let's give one park the benefit of it, because the same thing kind of happened with Remy for a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's like we got Guardians when it was brand new technology, right. We got Remy when it was 4-year-old technology. We got Tron when it was like 6 or 7-year-old technology.
So I hear you. But let me for those of you who are watching, let me just show you something here. Whoa. Okay, stop. Hold. Let's pull Carrie's take in real quick. Happily Ever After is great for feels and all, the goosebumps and stuff. Now, Phantasmic allows me as an adult to go back to the fun in animated movies, the songs you grew up loving, the characters that make Disney. Then the ability to sit down and not have to stand helps it out. All the magic of the shows with the pyro appearances and disappearances. Man, I felt like 10 years old again. How'd they do that? That came out of my mouth multiple times. 11 out of 10 show. There you go, Terry. Carrie agrees with me. So, all right, I'm about to show something for those of you that are sitting at your computer watching us, and if you want to come back and find out when you are listening to the podcast, find us on your Facebook Live. You can see what I'm about to show. But Terry, this is why I'm talking about Tron being an amazing ride. I'm a 42-year-old man, about to be 42 next week. Carrie's 37. And this is the look on our face after the first shoot at when they launch you. I mean, come on. having that kind of excitement out of two grown adults, Tron's amazing.
Although we could argue the grown and the adult part, but
Okay,
yes.
okay, yes, okay. Two adult.
I don't know Carrie that well, but I'm just gonna make I'm gonna make some guilt by association assumptions about the man.
Okay, fine, but look at just the look of excitement on my face, and Carrie will also tell you I don't smile on roller coasters very much.
And also, dude, that's a great ride photo. That's like I think Tron is all about the experience of walking up to the attraction. It's about the walk up. It's about the experience. Did you get to do it at night?
No, we didn't, but I did do it twice. I did a VQ and I paid ILL for it.
As you should.
Yeah. Just the mystique of it all. Like you go in and get digitized, and then the opaque glass just all of a sudden opens up and you see the bikes.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
Yeah, it's you're able to get lost in the story of it all, right? Like
it
the
is
storytelling of it all.
So here is my one thing I don't like about it. And this is a Chapek if I ever saw a Chapek. You know, you and I were talking earlier about you getting lost in the immersion of Andy's backyard, right? When you walk into Andy's backyard, you shrink to the size of a toy.
Yes.
When you walk out of Andy's backyard, you realize you're not the size of a toy anymore, right? When you go to Remy's Ratatouille, the ride, if you look down at the tile on the floor, they're very small when you're the size of a human. When you're the size of the rat, the tiles are very large. But when you leave the ride, all of a sudden you see that they are back to normal size.
Right.
You go into Tron, you get digitized. You're in the grid. Nothing leaving Tron reminds you that you're back to the real world. That is a Chapek if I ever saw it.
Maybe a gift shop?
No, you don't exit through a gift shop.
Oh, okay.
You exit out, you get your stuff out of the lockers, and you walk on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to go do some things in Orlando. Well, if we go do that trip in June,
yeah,
I'll combine those. I'm also realizing, and here's what Disneyland, I think, because you exit for a commercial for Enterprise Rent a Car.
He's not wrong. It you join the green team and it's Enterprise.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Imagineers, and I hope the move to Lake Nona actually happens, because I think it'll actually shift how we experience Disney World. Is like the Rogers the Musical, like the fact that that's coming to Hyperion Theater at California Adventure this summer.
Right.
Like that's enough to make me want to go out there.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not even caught up on Marvel movies, but that was so amazing and hilarious. It's enough that I want to experience that at least once while I can. Right. And
yeah.
so yeah, dude. I mean, I think, you know,
I'll say this too. We did Guardians twice on this trip. We did Tron twice on this trip. And I said on our last trip, on my last trip, nothing will come close to beating Guardians. Tron came close.
One of my favorite quotes from Tony Baxter when we did it. He spoke at an event that I created in 2014.
Yeah.
He said, "We create for the 21st ride."
I could see myself riding Tron 21 times and being, okay, that's cool. I could see myself riding. I should
ride Guardians for 21 times in one day.
Yeah, and the thing
And
about
still, well, I'm not sure that my
your stomach couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
I could ride Guardians and just the, oh my gosh, what song are we going to get? That's the talk in the line.
and the fact, the beauty of like, right, that ride has the same almost ability as Star Tours, right? Like we all just found out we're about to get a whole new Star Tours experience.
Yeah, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Carrie makes a great point here. It says, as someone who's ridden close to 200 different roller coasters, Guardians will be otherworldly the 200th time I ride it alone.
Right.
So I hands down. I mean, he's ridden Velocicoaster and he's ridden Guardians. And before he rode Guardians, he said, "Oh, this can't be better than Velocicoaster." It is much better than Velocicoaster.
Yeah, because there's some you don't have anything. It's what gives Disney the unique ability to win this battle in the end that we talked about.
Storytelling.
Is I'm excited about $17 billion, right? That's great.
Right.
But I hope we just get back to not settling. The Star Cruiser, the one thing that the Star Cruiser, they let them do is they just did what they wanted. And I'm hoping for an unbridled Imagineering for the next 10 years.
The guy that they hired about a month ago to take over Imagineering, or who just came back to the company.
Came back to the chief creative officer. That
Right.
guy's sharp.
He was the one that was over New Fantasyland. So we have storytelling.
New Fantasyland has storytelling, but what it didn't have is it ran out of budget.
Right. So if they get a lot of that $17 billion and put it into Villain's Lair or Villain's Park or whatever, let's just say that is the new thing behind Big Thunder Mountain, and we get Maleficent's Castle, and we get Mirabelle's Encanto.
And dude, I'm not so caught up on a fifth gate. I would rather them do 20 or 30, 40 acres of expansion in each of the parks.
Yeah. The one thing I said multiple times in the worst crowd I've ever been in at Disney World this last week. I've been there. I was there for the 50th. The crowd last week for Florida spring break was worse than October 1st, 2021.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah.
The one thing I said,
which is the real reason why you need attractions eat people.
See, that's exactly Terry said the thing. The one thing I said multiple times the last week was Disney needs people eaters,
which is the beauty, which is the one redeeming thing about Fantasmic is it eats 8,000 people.
Right.
And it potentially eats another 8,000 people while they're waiting for the next show. Right.
I mean, Carrie and I sat in the theater for, I guess, an hour and a half. Like, we got there at 7:00. We didn't have the dining package, so we sat there from 7 to 8:30 so we could have a good seat.
That's 3 rides you didn't ride while you sat there on those. Now, as someone who likes people eaters, that's amazing.
Right.
As someone who also loves guest experience, I hate that for you.
Well, we had a great time. I was able to call my girls.
So who cares?
Right, exactly.
The family that doesn't have the annual pass that won't get to come back ever. I hate that for them.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, just do the dining package.
Well,
oh yeah, Carrie said, and the ride we didn't get to, and the ride we didn't ride after because it broke down. We were right at the elevators, and Tower of Terror, and the elevators broke down.
The ride just came out of refurb too. Ridiculous.
Yep. But it's because they forgot to say hi to the ghost that morning. Jeez. So, but great trip overall. If you get a chance to go to Disney with your friends, away from the family, it's cool. Do it. I will say I did miss my girls. It made it more special coming home, buying them
How
stuff.
long were you there?
3 days.
Yeah, see, that's you're good.
It was
That's
it's a cool trip to take. Do it. Carrie and I did 90% of the things we wanted to do, and still took 2-hour break in the middle of every day. So there you go, the trip report. And you heard Dave's trip report, and you heard Dave and Terry yell at each other. What more could you want in a show?
Yep. Or as Sherry would remind you, you heard Dave being wrong.
Well, but I wasn't, so we'll go from there.
If you think what you like,
okay,
dude, I'm rooting for Disney to win. I'm kind of like I'm kind of like poking it and saying, okay, do what you're able to do.
Right, I get it. I totally get it. I do,
and I think let's hope we have receipts. Unfortunately, if Bob doesn't train up that next person, it doesn't matter how much money they'll spend.
Well, you're right. And I mean, we all know who the next person is. He just needs to stop wearing the sweaters and needs to be his own person. My biggest complaint about Josh tomorrow is if you go back and look what he was wearing 6 months ago, he was copying everything that Chapek was wearing and trying to be Chapek. If you go back and watch him now, he's copying what Bob Iger wears.
Which I would argue makes him a horrible choice for CEO.
I kind of agree with you on that one, Terry.
I mean, and
he needs to be his own person.
That position, I hope we get a chief creative officer. Iger has the capital to make some aggressive moves.
Yep.
Iger should put someone with a strong business acumen as CEO and someone on the caliber of John Lasseter as chief creative officer, and we'll be fine.
Do we have that person there, though?
Well, no, but we can go get Lasseter.
I'd be okay with that.
And apologize for his excessive hugging.
Would he come back? Probably not.
Money talks.
I mean, he's now the head of Skydance Animation.
Buy it.
Not a bad idea, actually.
That would probably actually be the easiest way to pull it off. Would just be to buy it. Because then you'd just say, well, we have an obligation here to continue. Right. And so I think that I think what's sadly more likely to happen is Disney is more likely to get purchased by another entity.
That won't happen.
I don't know if it'll get through SEC regulators, but I would not be shocked if Apple makes a move.
They'll try, but I think you just said it right.
Yeah.
It won't make it through the SEC.
The HBO Discovery moves today give a little more validity to that being a possibility, in my opinion.
Well, HBO and Discovery are already both owned by Warner.
Correct, but like that alignment positions that as more of a possibility.
We shall see.
If Steve Jobs was still alive, it would have already happened.
Or it would have been a merger of equals, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd have seen Disney still operating as a standalone, kind of like ABC kind of has done its own thing for years, but
right.
We'll see. Yeah, dude, I'm optimistic. I'm just saying, boys, I-4 they're not playing around up there. And they're getting aggressive globally with the move in Vegas and the move in Frisco. Those are aggressive moves.
Yeah.
So, You either roll over and play dead, or you respond with another aggressive move, which I $17 billion is aggressive.
I was about to say, don't make me say the number again.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you build the equivalent. Let's just say we build the equivalent of 9 Galaxy's Edges in Orlando.
That's aggressive.
That's aggressive.
Yep. Even 9 Galaxy's Edges, you still have what, $8 billion left?
Well, I think some of that's going to go into,
Staffing. Like
I'd be okay if that money all went in entertainment and not attractions.
Yeah.
Because those are people eaters.
True.
Spend $1 billion of it on Street and Sphere.
Bring him back.
So we'll see. I'm hopeful. But if we're keeping score in this, it's definitely Disney's move.
Like I said, I'm
hoping your D23 Disney World event is all that. I'm hoping it's massive.
The
Star Wars Celebration was not a disappointment.
Oh, Star Wars Celebration was epic this year.
Yeah, I mean now granted,
this is the way.
Yeah, hopefully they'll actually do what they said they would. Like hopefully those things aren't just concept art, but are real.
I'll just say this. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but they do talk about Admiral Thrawn and Mandalorian today. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I heard this week's Mandalorian is fantastic.
This week's is fantastic, and according to Katie Sackhoff, next week's will blow your socks off.
Is that the finale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not watched one because I hate watching Star Wars when I hear the fans saying it's bad, because all it means in the Disney episodic releases, it's just like you just got to get them together. Like last week's was bad, but if you watched it with this week, it'd have been fine. I hear, right? So
no. So you watch and we'll end on this, Terry. We've gone a long time, but you have to watch it knowing it leads up to something.
Yes.
I mean, I
enjoy binging the Star Wars series.
Great. But I was a huge Jack Bauer 24 fan, right?
Yes.
You know that in the 24 episodic season, you're going to get 2 or 3 of the hours seasons or shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it was kind of a down to build up.
Here's the deal.
To the end.
Here's the deal with 24. Jack Bauer, Kiefer has a new series out that I heard is pretty good.
I'll have to check it out.
You almost needed a week off every now and then.
Oh yeah, you end every episode of Jack Bauer like, why do I watch this show?
Oh, dude, I couldn't sit down and watch that show.
Really?
No, like half the time I ended up standing. You can't sit down while someone's getting stabbed in the kneecap. You can't sit down if Jack Bauer's eating someone's jugular vein. And those are both things that happened.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Such a good show.
Yeah. That's arguably the greatest television drama of all time.
Oh, not arguably. It is.
Yeah. So maybe Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Bauer should be CEO of Disney.
Sure. All right. So the show.
That's what I want from Disney as a response. I want to go Jack Bauer on Universal. I want him to go for the jugular. Let's go.
The show you were talking about is called Rabbit Hole, and he plays a spy.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yes, it does, and it's on Paramount Plus. Of course, it is.
Of course, it is. Another stupid thing I've got to.
Right.
I think I get it free with T-Mobile and just haven't done it yet.
There you go.
So, all right, dude. Well, it's been a great, fun episode, and
you were in a good mood. That's what made it fun.
We're in a good mood, and you even I was still in a good mood after you attacked me.
There you go. Good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I expect a formal written apology.
Oh, Terry Weaver, I am so sorry.
Well, I think we'll just see that it's just you continue accepting your being wrong. So
Okay, we'll see.
proven fact.
All right, Terry.
All right. We'll see you guys next time from our corner booth. And we'll call this a night.
Bye, you guys.